Welcome back to the NBHL Game of the Week. After 1 week off, we are back, and this time we are in Massachusetts, the Cleghorn Crooks and the Oakridge Owls. Exciting times to go to Massachusetts for the first NBHL Game of the Week this year. Matthew Aaron, thank you so much for being with us. Two of the best teams in Massachusetts Tier 1 are going at it this week. And you might be wondering, who are the Cleghorn Crooks? Well, they were the Leominster Stars the last couple of years. They were named the Cleghorn Crooks a couple of years ago, but as the Leominster Stars of 2023, they won the overall NBHL Championship. Last year, they made it back to the national playoffs, but they finished 8th out of 8. And there's a reason why they're one of the best teams in Massachusetts. It's because they have an MVP of Tier 1 the first 4 seasons of their existence. 4 different ones, and they're all playing on this year's team. Extremely exciting to watch them go at it in their first game of the season. They're going up against the Oakridge Owls. They were second in the last 3 years in Tier 1, national exits in the first round each time. So they're trying to take that step. This is their second game of the season. They lost to the New England Scorpions 4-1 earlier this week. For the Crooks, it's their first game of the year because the weather in Massachusetts doesn't often cooperate with ball hockey. But it has this week, and we're ready to watch these two teams go at it with the first period coming right up.
I'm Garage Beer, and this is Bobby Carpenter.
Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer.
Beef with an F? Okay, my bad. It's crisp and cool, and it doesn't taste like ass. I'm Bobby Carpenter. I drink in garages because my wife says I don't belong inside. If you like a cold breeze on your bag, drink Garage Beer. It's American, and so can you. Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer.
We're getting ready here for Oakridge and Cleghorn. Cleghorn, of course, as you mentioned, the opener were the Leominster Stars the last couple of years, one of the best teams in ball hockey. You also have the Oakridge Owls, who are one of the next up in Tier 1. Looking forward to this game. We've not been to Massachusetts yet for our game of the week. We were in Pittsburgh week 1, then 2 straight weeks in New Jersey, off last week, and now here we are in Massachusetts, and it was inevitable we were going to get here. Some of the best ball hockey's played in Massachusetts. These are two of the best teams in one of the most competitive divisions in the NBHL. The weather has actually cooperated because earlier this season, this Massachusetts division was snowed out. Doesn't happen all that often, but it happened here. And the rink's a little slick because of rain, but shouldn't be too much of a problem as you get ready for this game between two teams that have known each other extremely well. But for the Crooks, it's their first game of the year. For the Owls, they had just lost, as we mentioned, 4-1 to the New England Scorpions. So they're trying to rebound, and there are so many good players in this division. We're excited to introduce you to them if you're not familiar with them already. The Crooks, well, they have uniforms that look like it in white. For the Owls, this puck deflects to the corner. And Crooks, that's Ryan Consalvo, number 8. He tried to play it along, but it's kept in the zone momentarily. The Crooks will try to send it down low. Not able to get that on target. This is fired across the rink. But Crooks start the game with offensive zone possession. One of the other stories of this game is 2 goalies we've got for you. Extremely exciting. The last 2 MVGs. Most valuable goalies in the Massachusetts division. Andrew Carter for the Crooks and Tyler Crawford, who was the MVG last year for the Owls. You see him in his stance. Going to get tested certainly by the Crooks. There's no doubt. 4 different MVPs for Massachusetts Tier 1, all on the Crooks as you go. Korey Fredrickson was last year's MVP, number 81 for the Crooks. You have the 23 MVP, number 13, Brandon Jones. Number 2022's, number 16, J.D. Dutney. And Korey Wilson from number 72 from 2021. Hard to imagine a team with 4 straight league, or in this case, tier MVPs. That's exciting. Really exciting. This ball deflects up and out of play. And here we go. This game started off with more the Crooks with offensive zone time, but not able to generate a whole lot as of yet. Should be interesting to see how this plays out with both of these teams thinking they have national aspirations. There's no doubt about that. Cordio tries to play it in. That taken away. Teams easing their way into this opening few minutes of the game. Said the Crooks, this is their first game of the year. The Owls have just played recently, so they're not yet in rhythm yet. One story of this Cleghorn Crooks team that might become a factor as we go along. Still set up in the offensive zone. This Crooks team can be a little top-heavy at times. That can happen when you have 4 MVPs. The Owls might be a tiny bit more of a balanced team from what you can tell from recent years and some of the player movement. So keep an eye on that as we go along. Owls try to break their way into the offensive zone, but Andrew Carter's going to get a touch in goal for the Crooks. Really haven't had to do all that much, these goalies yet. No real shots as of yet, and that's icing. So back we come down to this end, really for the first time. Very little in the way of shots on goal as of yet and offensive zone time for the Owls at least, but you know they're going to get their chances at some point. Too good of a team not to. Keep that in at the line, unable to do so. AJ Mills trying to push it along, but the Owls have it covered back in the corner with Jeff Hamlin, who last played ball hockey in 2021, so he's getting back into it after a nearly 4-year absence. That's shot in by Matt Perrin, national team defender, number 97. And the Crooks come away with it. Try not to do many Crooks stealing lines in this broadcast, but forgive me if that happens more often than it doesn't. Chandler Ledger, number 7, he tries to push it ahead, but he's under pressure from Cameron Vitone. Didn't play last year, sent all the way down, and another icing, so back to this end of the rink we go. Feeling out process for two teams that looking to win Tier 1 in Massachusetts, and certainly are going to have a great opportunity to do so. There's a big shot from Nick Carter, who's the most valuable defenseman 3 of the last 4 years, and scored the only goal in that loss, number 12. But that was stopped. Owls trying to set up. First real look in the offensive zone, that was Colin McCall, who was a Tier 2 Leominster hitman, and he's moved up. Last year, this is sent all the way down and iced again. So, a lot of Owls pressure here. Last few sequences. See if it pays off. Another draw to Andrew Carter's left. See what this sets up. Another shot. That goes just wide. The rebound's bouncing around at the side. And loose in the crease. They score. And it was Ben Tolman who ended up tapping it in, number 94. Came off of 10 points last season. All that pressure does pay off. It's a clean face-off win. Just loose. And Carter's unable to find it. It's loose of the blue paint and yellow paint in this case. And it is Tolman who just taps it over the line and gets it in. And the Owls turn all that pressure into a goal. His first of the season. And the Owls set up with that pressure and then cover the ball up at the other end. That was Crawford who smothered it. Good work there by the Owls. They took advantage of a glorious opportunity, just a loose ball in the crease, and they were able to slap it in. Vitone gets the assist on that goal. There's a good save from Crawford off a long shot from the point. Crooks looking to respond. That was Anthony Romano, the defender, trying to play it ahead. Trying to get it over that red line, unable to do so. Brandon Snow will send this in. Another good hit in the corner, some physical play here. Romano trying to dig it out. Sends it up the wall. This is Brandon Jones. That would be your 2023 league MVP. Number 13 along the wall. He tried to push it ahead. Now, Crooks trying to break into the offensive zone. No luck in doing so. Was sent down low there by Kyle Snow. Nothing really working there. 25 to the wing. It's Fredrickson, last year's MVP. Couldn't get that one towards the net. It might have been blocked away in front beforehand. Opportunity the other way for the Owls. In front, poked wide. That was Travis Bliss, number 11. He had the assist on the only goal for the Owls in their loss just a little while ago. He had a great look in front, but he couldn't stuff it in. Crooks trying to send it in after, again, facing some pressure in their own zone. It's Wilson having to go all the way back under pressure. Sent up to the line. This is Korey Fredrickson again. Him and Wilson trying to set a play up. That's swept towards the net. It's a good save by Crawford here on Brandon Garneau. First real good chance for the Crooks. The game. He finds himself a little space in the circle. Good save there by Crawford. He's able to get that rebound pretty quick. Garneau last year, Tier 2 in Florida with the Orlando Mutiny. He played in California a couple of years ago with the South Bay Bruins. Another shot that is stopped by Crawford and tipped out of play. So Garneau's a player for the Crooks that you definitely want to watch out for, in addition to their 4 MVPs from Massachusetts Tier 1. 5 really talented players that this Crooks team can throw at you at any given point. That makes that really difficult for opposition to stop. Owls working into the offensive zone. Opportunity is sent wide. That was a look there that didn't quite go for Hamlin. Still loose just in front of Andrew Carter. Sticked away from him. Crooks able to defend in numbers. This is intended for Garneau, number 68 along the wing. But Matthew Albert, defender, was able to watch it. And through a stoppage in play. And again, another face-off in the offensive zone for the Owls. Right now, they have the 1-0 lead on the goal from Ben Tolman.
That's what I was talking about.
About midway through this opening period.
It's like hard to hold them. They're so bulky.
See the rain still falling, so the rink's slick. That might make for some interesting conditions throughout the evening. We'll see.
No, not 10, 5.
That was Matt Karen who tried to send it ahead, number 97. There's a slip for one of the Owls players along the boards in the kick plate. That could be something we see happen throughout the evening. Opportunity again. Loose towards the net. Carter was down, but I don't think the shot ever reached the net. As you can see, we've got about 3 minutes to go in the period.
I'm just like, I'm a hot dog guy. I can eat a million. I need to go see a Red Sox game this year.
Opportunity for Ledger to try to clear it. Comes this way for Cordio, number 91. He wants to get this up the wall. There's no real room for the Crooks to break into the offensive zone cleanly. Maybe a chance here, A.J. Mills trying to send it along. That went wide. Dutney going to try to keep it in, try to hammer one towards the net. That got blocked down in front. Owls doing a really good job of keeping everything in front of them. Karen towards the net, threw it wide. And Snow will try to send that in. That goes into this near corner. And in Melanson, number 19. He was the Tier 2 MVP last year, the Mass Banditos, and he gets the call up to Tier 1. Crooks trying to get in. They might have a 2-on-1. Sent across, rolled towards the net, and Crawford covers it up. This is the opportunity coming the other way. A little turn for the Owls. This first shot, it's a nice save by Crawford here. Rebound was cleared away quickly. As you could see that Melanson was trying to jam it in. And at the other end was the mini 2-on-1 that developed, just couldn't get the ball out in front.
No, yeah, we can't modify it.
Sent all the way down, it's a bouncing ball. Now there by Romano, turned over, opportunity in front. That wouldn't go. Still loose there, and I think a stick just got up high. Certainly was. Referees blow the whistle. That was KJ Dowling, number 4, the defender for the Crooks, trying to make a play here in the corner. And he ends up getting the stick in the face of Kyle Snow. That's a tough one right there. Ends up touching the ball to bring a play to a stop. So it is a power play for the Owls. They're going to have an opportunity to go up 2-0 here. For the faceoff when Melanson sets the stage and they score. That didn't take very long at all, did it? Just a long shot from the Tier 2 MVP last year, Melanson. And it's going to find its way right through. A little turnaround shot after some passing up at the point. Don't think this took a deflection. No, it didn't. Finds its way through. That was Nick Carter who set it up, who scored the goal in their first game, and now the Owls have a 2-0 lead. So they've really owned the latter half of this first period. They've done a great job of setting the table and putting the pressure on Andrew Carter and the Crooks. Maybe showing a little first game rust. Haven't played yet for a team that's got so much talent. You're not going to hold them down for long. But a 2-0 lead for the Owls. They try to get one back of that. Is a high rising shot from Wilson that fluttered wide. 2021 MVP. Brandon Jones now number 13. Trying to send it along. That went wide again. Came out in front, but there are only Owls there. Here's Carter. Goal and assist to start his season, and a shot there from Ben Tolman went wide. Trying to add to his goal already in this game. Crooks will set it up from behind the net. Trying the stretch pass. It's going to roll all the way down once again. It's iced. There's been a lot of those far in this game. Here's that opportunity you see for Korey Wilson, and it just rolled off the end of his blade. And it came out in front, too. I don't think you could see that on the initial camera angle, but Ben Tolman cleared that near post. That could have been rolling in at any point. You can see another shot right here that stopped from the sharp angle by Crawford. So that was a much closer call than it looked in real time for the Crooks, who are trying to get one back before the period ends, but they are not able to do so, though. How close did they come? Karen back in the corner. Mike DeFazio, men's elite general manager. That's coming up in a couple of weeks in the NBHL. You're going to want to stay tuned for that. Another long shot deflects wide. Getting real close to the end of this first period. Loose up high. It's kept in at that floating red line. Floating blue line at the red line. Sent along. That was Bliss who tried to jam it in short side. Carter had the near post covered. Golfed out towards the blue line. And that will do it for the first period. 2 goals from the Owls. It was Tolman and Melanson who have the Owls up 2-0.
Tune in to the Commish Chat podcast, your go-to source for weekly league breakdowns, current events, and behind-the-scenes stories from the world of ball hockey and the NBHL. Whether you're a player, a fan, or just discovering the game, we've got you covered. We break down top matchups, highlight standout performances, and dive into everything happening on and off the rink, from highlight reel goals to major league updates and everything in between. New episodes drop regularly, and you can catch every one on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Commish Chat, an NBHL podcast.
2-0 lead for the Owls over the Crooks at the first intermission of our Week 5 NBHL Game of the Week. Matthew Aaron, thank you so much for being with us. First trip to Massachusetts this season. 2 great teams, and the Owls, coming off a loss, are off to a really good start, a 2-0 lead. They really dominated the latter half of that period. Let's go back and look at some of it. How about Ben Tolman here? A little bit fortuitous bounce. Of course, it didn't go for the Crooks a little bit later. He's just able to jam this ball in. It sat in the paint after an initial save. Batone and Carter get the assists. Tolman coming off a 10-point year last year. He's got the goal. And then on the power play, they don't take very long to punish the Crooks for that high sticking penalty from KJ Dowling. Brandon Melanson, Tier 2 MVP last year in Massachusetts. He gets a goal here. Nick Carter gets a second assist. Just a long shot that makes its way through, and the Owls have a 2-0 lead. The Crooks had a chance tail end of the period. Ball was just sitting in the paint after it leaked through Tyler Crawford, but they couldn't jam it in. And so that's why it is 2-0 Owls after the first period. Second period coming up. Are the Crooks going to respond? You think they're going to with their pedigree. We'll find out in just a bit. Here we go in the second period. Massachusetts Tier 1. 2-0 Owls, off to a very good start in this first period, and now in their second game of the season. The Crooks, maybe a little rusty, having not played a game yet. Look, weather doesn't cooperate even in Massachusetts here in April and late March, but still not necessarily cooperating today because it's a little slick conditions. That came out in front off a bounce off the backboards. Andrew Carter covers. Most valuable goalies the last 2 years in Massachusetts Tier 1. Andrew Carter was 2023's MVG, and Crawford was the MVG last year. So good goaltending on show in addition to all the MVPs and all the other talent. These teams are going to have their eyes for nationals going forward. There's no doubt about that. Cleared by Dowling, who took that penalty in the first period. This shot from Karen is held once again by Andrew Carter. This comes in very, very quick, but just rolled on net. Towards the side here, opportunity with a little bit of extra passing. Goalie down, ball is loose just outside the crease. Garneau is in there. It might have been 1 or 2 extra passes maybe, as Crawford was down on his rear end, and he was having a little trouble getting back into position. But again, another close call for the Crooks that they couldn't take advantage of. And now we're back down at the other end. Loose at the side of the net. Carter was down in his stance, but a shot never came in. Owls will reset. Shot all the way in. Comes off a bounce. Cross crease feed. Cross rink feed to the crease. It came to Melanson, and that shot got blocked away. 2 assists for Nick Carter in the first period. The goals from Melanson and Tolman. And let's look at that again. Crawford was tested some in that first period, and this is how close he came to getting beat here. Maybe 1 too many passes. They tried to go cross the crease, as he said. That was intended for Cordio from Garneau, and it just maybe overpassing it a little bit. Garneau has a chance to shoot that. 8 goals, 8 assists last year, 16 points, playing down in Florida. Looking for his first goal of the year, and maybe had a better chance if they shot it from that angle. More Owls pressure behind the cage. For a little room, that's Fredrickson. Let's call him McCall. It was Tier 2 with Leominster Hitman last year. Guarded closely by, again, whichever MVP is on the rink at this point, because the Crooks, of course, have 4 of them sent towards the net. Crawford steers it up and out of play. Get a look from behind the net here, and he just parries that out of play from a long shot. Nothing that's going to challenge last year's MVG from that sort of spot on the rink. You're going to have to do something pretty special to beat him from there. That was knocked down by Dan Connors. He's putting the pressure on number 97, trying to forecheck their way out of trouble. Sent across, but intercepted by Dutney. MVP in Massachusetts Tier 1 as a defender. Sent to the cross, and that was whiffed by Connors. I think he just took swing and a miss. Now the other way. Owls with a 2-on-1. That shot goes wide. Another opportunity as the ball rattles around the rink. A lot of odd man rushes in this game, and particularly the Owls have had some opportunities to really put their foot down in this game, and they haven't been able to bury some of these chances. Up 2-0. 2-0 is a dangerous lead, of course. Tolman gave that over to Melanson. Those are your 2 goal scorers. 94 and 19 playing catch, and then sending it to the net before Carter covers up. See, this shot gets through traffic, off the glove, and he's able to play the bounce pretty well. You got great awareness from both of these goalies. There's no question about that. And beating them is going to be hard. And the conditions, it being a little slick out with the rain, is going to make that maybe even harder still. Crooks looking to get this within a goal. Trying to get back. Brandon Jones, 13. Trying to drag it back out in front. That was Crawford, who had the short side covered. Which of the 4 MVPs is going to change the dynamic of this game? There's some question about whether this is icing or not. Looks like it was called by the back referee, but both referees agree that they're going to call this icing, and back we go to this end, are we? Or if icing is called incorrectly. Like in other areas of hockey, we're going to take this to the neutral zone and drop it at center. Fair way to do it. Kyle Snow trying to bring it in, but once again, sent towards the net, and Carter covers up. Talking a lot about these goalies, and again, MVGs the last couple of years, there's a reason why you'd want to do that. Last year, the Crooks, by the way, when they were still the Leominster Stars, lost in the first round of the playoffs after winning it all in 2023. So had trouble last year defending their championship. This is their first game of the season. They have designs on obviously very big things. And a lot of work to do. Obviously, in the first game of this season, you've got to get back into this game first and foremost. That shot deflects behind the cage. Trying to set something up. Another long shot. That got blocked. Went into some legs there. That was Korey Wilson, your 2021 MVP. It's back behind the net. Crooks trying to get that look out. Look at how many bodies there are. There's no real room to shoot. That was Crawford who was down his stance. I might have gotten blocked on the way in, and the counterattack is on for the Owls. Travis Bliss tried to set that up, number 11. That got blocked. He was working with Vitone, who has one of the assists today. Owls will turn the other way. Fredrickson into the corner. That's a good check. Separating man from ball. Stays in the rink for now as the Owls try to clear, and they're going to do so. Another odd man opportunity. Tolman, another save. Loose in this front of the paint, and cleared away once again. This will be covered up from the other side of the rink by Crawford. And how many odd mans are the Owls going to get? They get a lot of them. It's a sharp angle shot. There is not a ton of room there for Tolman to aim at, but it's the rebound that could be the problem, and he was working with Vitone there. As you see Crawford cover it up at the other end. That could have been something. But another opportunity, the Owls, that they don't take advantage of. Another icing call. More icing calls today in this game in the first 1.5 periods than I think we had in our first 3 games of the week combined. If that's a stat any of you are keeping track of. High time for the Crooks to get some offense going. High time for the Crooks to take advantage of all of those odd man rushes that the Owls haven't taken advantage of. Dowling back in the corner. Tough duel there with Colin McCall. Another Tier 2 player that's called up Tier 1, and they're going to blow the whistle because this thing just got tied up in some skate. In that trouble area along the kick plate, in some shoes and some shin pads, and referees blow the whistle. This is to Carter's right. Loose off the draw. Finally, the Crooks are able to get some possession. Romano has it. Try to cycle it up the wall. Garneau played that across A.J. Mills. Now Cam Cordio, number 91. Far side. Mills trying to protect the ball. Sends it down low. Loose at the side of that. Crawford was down, but had it covered as that shot, I think, fluttered beyond him. That's Cordio, keeps it in. There's a good save from Crawford. He was able to find that way, and it's loose at the side of the net. Still juggling away. Crawford, how about this kind of fencing reaction to save? Looking to kind of protect himself, getting it up high. That was the opportunity from Garneau. And then another chance. Look at this fly up off a stick. I think that was Romano. Another opportunity. Look at the look on Romano's face. He's like, what do we have to do to beat this guy? Really sharp thus far. Brandon Snow trying to clear, couldn't do so. Into the slot, another save. How about Crawford, who's become the star here late in the second? All these opportunities. Both teams, nobody seems to want to take advantage of them. Next goal's so key. Owls go up 3-0. It might feel like there's not enough room to come back, but if the Crooks get one, there's got a great opportunity. That just rolled off the blade for Mike O'Neill, number 55. Sent back the other way in a hurry. List tied up with Ledger, number 7. But there are enough Crooks back there to take it away. Well, I think we've heard that before on any number of crime shows on TV or Netflix or Amazon Prime or wherever you watch your crime shows. It's not my cup of tea necessarily, but anyway. Sent all the way back down. Cleghorn Crooks in the black uniforms, all white with the black shorts for the Owls. Owls got 2 first period goals. They lead 2-0. Here's an opportunity for the Crooks, and that's another save by Crawford. That was Wilson who came in and had an opportunity. Been a lot more of this in the second period for the Crooks. More pressure, but the Owls clear. Now they're going to work their way through with Kyle Snow. Far circle. Then get back to the line. That shot went wide. Looking to clear once again. The Crooks, can they settle it down? It might have been a 2-on-1 if Wilson was able to bring that down with his stick, but he wasn't able to do so. That's sent towards the net. Carter had, I think, a little more time to clear that than he thought. Owls try to keep it in. Tolman knocked it high into the air. Here comes Wilson. He tries to center it. That's back for J.D. Dutney. That was a couple of those MVPs turning it along, and now might be a breakaway again for the Owls, except it rolled on Vitone. Not a whole lot he could do with that. This game's gotten stretched all of a sudden. Another icing. Let's have another look at this setup here. Off one of these face-off plays. Just the clearance knocked down into the slot. Look at the save right there. It was Josh Lambert who almost got the rebound attempt. Full splits there for Crawford, who has earned his keep in this second period. He's been great. He's been very, very sharp. Done a whole lot of work to keep this at 2-0. Here's Jones. This is Wilson. Turn along the boards. Hard hit on Fredrickson. Owls separate man from ball again. Karen, national teamer 2022. He sends it ahead. This long shot goes wide on the deflection. That came in from Dutney. Opportunity there. They score. Brandon Jones, one of the MVPs. It turned out the 23 MVP. Look at the feed he gets here, and finally Crawford is solved. How about this shot from the circle? Set up for the one-timer and blasts it home. Korey Wilson, that's 21 MVP, and J.D. Dutney, that's your 22 MVP. So the 3 MVPs, 3 of the 4 combined to get that goal for the Crooks. It took a long time, but they get one back here. End of the second, and now it's 2-1. You kind of felt that had been coming for a while. At one point, there was going to be a shot that Crawford couldn't stop. Now, we're going to head 2-1 into this second intermission. But the Owls have had some odd man opportunities, quite a few of them, and they certainly could score themselves. This is Tolman sending it across. There was a slip there for a player in the slot. Owls trying to respond with a goal of their own. Sent across. This is Tolman again. Through some legs. Good save, Crawford. He's down. How did he keep that out? What an opportunity there, and what an incredible save. Look at Crawford here. He's down. He makes the initial save, and, oh, just couldn't get all of it. Down in the crease. Nice tick that there was Hamlin. Says, good work there, Andrew Carter. I couldn't end up seeing who got the shot away. Just not enough power on it. Snow tries to get that, and it was blocked. Crooks going the other way, but they turn it over. And then turn over again. Another opportunity. They score. Melanson has his second of the day. And there's nothing fancy about this, but just a turnover in the neutral zone, and watch this absolute blast. Tests the glove and beats Carter. I think he knows he probably should have given it a little bit better there. Hard to get beat on the glove like that from a long way out, but that is a heck of a son. Brandon Melanson, last year's Tier 2 MVP, had 18 points for the Mass Banditos. He's got 2 goals today. Tolman now has an assist. Hamlin has an assist, so 2 points for Tolman, 2 points for Melanson, 2 for Carter. It's 3-1 Owls. Crooks trying to get one back, jamming away. This was Korey Wilson. And one of those assists, and he just couldn't squeeze it through. He had a lot of time, tried to go to the backhand. You could see Crawford looking behind him. Did that squeak through the 5-hole? No, because he closed it off just in time. Crawford's been a superstar in this period. One's gotten by him, and it's the reason why it's still 3-1 right now. Heck of a period for the goalies. 3-1 Owls. Period's about to come to an end. Horn should be hounding soon. There it goes. What a period. 3-1 Owls. Each team extends a goal. Melanson with a late one. Makes it 3-1. We'll have the second intermission report in just a second. What a period. But stays a 2-goal lead.
I'm Garage Beer, and this is Bobby Carpenter.
Garage beer. Beer flavored beer.
Beef with an F? Okay, my bad. It's crisp and cool, and it doesn't taste like ass. I'm Bobby Carpenter. I drink in garages because my wife says I don't belong inside. If you like a cold breeze on your bag, drink Garage Beer. It's American, and so can you. Garage Beer. Beer flavored beer.
For a pretty goalie-dominant period, each team still gets a goal. Looked like the Crooks were going to go into the second intermission down 1, but they go down 2. The Owls have a 3-1 lead. I'm Matthew Aaron. Thank you for being with us for the game week. We've seen some really good ball hockey in the first 2 periods of this game. Really good goaltending in the first 2. Couple of great saves by both of them. Tyler Crawford's made a couple of incredible ones. You're seeing one of them right now. How about the work he's doing to keep this at a 3-1 scoreline? It was 2-1 at that point, and boy, without him, I mean, the Crooks should probably be ahead. All those MVPs combining, and eventually, 3 of them did. It was the 21, 22, and 23 MVPs with Brandon Jones, who ends up getting the goal. The 23 MVP, you could see how he got himself free. 15 points last year, his first point of the season. Really great work, but then, not too long after that, Brandon Melanson, who had scored a goal in the first period, the second goal, he scores one here. Look at this shot. Just challenges the glove of Andrew Carter, and there is not a whole lot he could do. That shot had a vapor trail on it. Great work from him. 3-1 Owls. They're going to try to protect this lead, get to 1-1 on the season. The Crooks have 2 goals to find to send this to overtime. We'll see if they can do it. Let's see if the third period is like the first 2. The third period is coming right up. Third period, off we go. Owls 3, Crooks 1. Really fun game thus far. The clouds are starting to part. Not as much rain as we saw in the first couple of periods. Awesome game, though, by the way. This has definitely lived up to the billing of 2 of the best teams in Massachusetts Tier 1. Some of the best ball hockey is played in Massachusetts, as you might expect. Owls trying to get in here. Look for a 4-1 lead. It's Kyle Snow, number 25, looking to center it. Tried to go for a trailer. That was Bliss, and it went through him. And back the other way, Fredrickson. The this shot on net is stopped by Crawford, who is putting quite a resume reel together of just this game. Long shot. There is a screen, but he saw that the whole way. That was off the stick of Brandon Jones, who had the goal in the second period for the Crooks. Good work from him to set up that chance. You expect a lot of Crooks pressure in this period. You've got to imagine that there's going to be a lot more of that, and Crawford's going to be put into action more and more as this goes on. Tolman will rattle it around the kick plate. That's how there is McCall, number 83, but more pressure here from the Crooks trying to set the table. Force those turnovers to get those clean looks. Shot in there by Karen. That deflects out of play. Another offensive zone draw, right? Actually, because it's deflected out of the neutral zone, it's going to be neutral zone, not the offensive zone for the Crooks.
I had the wife in the car. It's just like legitimately like I made her wait around. I was hanging up flyers. Being from
Here we go. With the Crooks now, they got to be the one to try to take the offense to the Owls. Got to be a lot of this going forward. There's no question about that. Garneau leaning on his man. He's been lively today. Again, he's been a great player where he's played the last couple of years in California and Florida, now playing in Massachusetts, and exciting player to watch. This is intercepted by Consalvo, number 8, who tried to drag his way through the slot. Crooks keep it in. Long shot, don't think it ever reached the net. Back up high, Romano, number 17. Might have gone wide on another tip. Crooks trying to clear. They don't. Still kept in. Now the Crooks are going to look ahead. Opportunity, as they did get back in time. That shot came in from Melanson, who's had a really good game, obviously. Melanson's got 2 goals. 2 of the 3 for the Owls. On a hat trick. See if you can pull that one through. Colin McCall wanted to get that return feed. Angle closed down. He does shoot. It goes wide. It went through the legs there of Romano. Crooks. Turn. It's Consalvo. No dice on that chance. Opportunity, Wilson. Deflected again to the corner. Sent through behind the cage. As expected, the Crooks are doing a good job of at least keeping it in the offensive zone, but they've got to turn some of these a chance. DeFazio up the wall, number 9, but he got crowded out loose at the side of the net before Crawford jumps on it and smothers. The pressure for the Crooks starting to build a little bit here. Can't score 2 goals in one play. You've got to get one back before you can get the second back. Wilson to take the draw. Gets it right to Dowling. He holds it, shoots, and scores. There is one. That's for the Crooks. And it's now 3-2. Dowling took that penalty in the first. Just a face-off win. Quick shot. Finds its way through. Played for the New England Scorpions last year. Beats Crawford. Wilson's got 2 assists. Your 2021 MVP, 5-time national team player. And now we've got ourselves a competitive contest. It is a 1-goal game. Can the Owls protect the lead? This is taken by Vitone, who has an assist from a sharp angle. That's stopped by Carter, and he covers up the rebound in a hurry. I think Andrew Carter will tell you that the second Melanson goal, that shot just whizzed by his glove, was one he probably could have stopped. And right now, that's the difference in the game. Both goalies have been good, but Crawford's been just a little bit better. This is Hamlin trying to send it in. Romano got a stick to it, defending him closely. Right now, it's the Owls' balance is beating some of the Crooks Stars as we speak. 4-on-3 here. Good passing play. Crawford diving. He's down and out for a second, but the ball's behind the net. That was a good look for the Crooks there, trying to tie this game up. Loose at the side again. Oh, and that one was fluttering out of play. It went out. Opportunity comes for a second. Don't know if that went off a stick. It went off of Crawford, but there was an open Crooks player for a second. Very nearly tied this game up. It was Dutney who had the opportunity. 2022 MVP. Again, we talk about all the MVPs on this team, and they're certainly making their presence felt. There's no question about that. But for now, the Owls have kept this thing in front of them. They've had a lot of odd man opportunities, and if they get another one, you wouldn't bet on them not burying it. This is Korey, number 91. Cross for Dutney. Comes back up high. This is A.J. Mills. Down along the far wall. Korey looks to get it back up the wall. Dutney trying to help out. Ball is loose there and hacked away by Tolman. Down it goes. No icing on this play. This is Chandler Ledger, number 7, trying to force it out of the zone. Owls keep the ball. Another long shot. That was tiered away by Carter. Up the wall it goes. Crooks trying to break it into the offensive zone. Korey had a chance. There's another glove save from Crawford. In the circle, Garneau. Close check from DeFazio. And Men's Elite GM, you're going to be hearing from him in a couple of weeks for an upcoming tournament. Exciting times in the NBHL there. As it was Korey just trying to burrow his way through into the slot, unable to get a clean look. get out in front. Garneau had his stick tied up. Threw it towards the top of the crease. Owls hustle the other way. Melanson, who has the 2 goals, sent it on net, looking for his 3rd. Carter stops. Great game for Melanson. That's a really tough angle. He shot it early, but again, you can see how far out of his crease Crawford is to make that save. Another long shot. Crawford save. Parries the rebound of the corner. Bliss, number 11. Sends it back across the rink. Looking for another white shirt. That's Consalvo now under a lot of pressure, but he's able to settle it down. Up the wall. That didn't quite work out again. It was Brandon Snow who tried to break it in. Owls. Looking to say. Wilson tried to break it out. Should say still loose. Owls trying to keep it in. Almost did. Played along by Connors. Or check on from O'Neill. Trying to force that turnover. Loose in front, but Nick Carter covers up. 3 points in 2 games for the most valuable defenseman. That is sent all the way down and iced again. We've had, like, what, 10 of those in this game? In ball hockey, you don't see as many icings because of that floating blue line. But today, we've seen a bunch. A couple goals off face-offs, too. I'm going to try to set this thing up in the offense zone, but I think gonna get a break here for a second for this offensive zone. Crooks down by 1.
Tune in to the Commish Chat podcast, your go-to source for weekly league breakdowns, current events, and behind-the-scenes stories from the world of ball hockey and the NBHL. Whether you're a player, a fan, or just discovering the game, we've got you covered. We break down top matchups, highlight standout performances, and dive into everything happening on and off the rink, from highlight reel goals to major league updates and everything in between. New episodes drop regularly, and you can catch every one on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Commish Chat, an NBHL podcast.
Quick break. See if the Crooks can set something up off that face-off. They are unable to do so. Still loose in the neutral zone once again. Hamilton was trying to push it ahead. Body's hitting the... Or is... Crawford had to shrug at it. Sent that from causing any further chaos. A long shot from Fredrickson never rated it through. 3-on-1. Oh, what a great stick that was. Incredible play there by the Crooks. That was a great look. Fredrickson again. He made the play himself, got the shot, got back defensively, and broke up what would have been maybe a 2-on-0. Loose along the far wall. Again, the Owls try to push this along. It went for Bliss. And do the job. Just defend and hold on. You've got the goalie behind you. That's what the hope is. For right now, the Owls maintaining this lead. Two-a-side battle behind. Sent out in front, but only Owls sticks in the way. Along the wall, they try to set the table. Tolman, sharp angle again. Melanson still looking for that hat trick. He might have the only real license to shoot the rest of the game. Hat trick makes someone who may not shoot in some of these situations more trigger happy, but you wouldn't blame him. That shot comes in wide. How many more good chances do the Crooks have in them? Fredrickson, just waiting, looking for a pass. Found one. Another long shot got blocked, cleared. Off a body, and went all the way down. But I think they're going to call that icing. I believe so. Don't want to ice it too much. So much pressure building and building throughout this period for the Crooks. They got one back pretty early, and they left themselves plenty of time to get goal number 3 to send this to overtime, but They haven't been able to get many great chances since. Wilson sends it across. A quick turnaround shot. Crawford was down, but he wasn't out. Crooks again looking for another chance. That deflects away from Garneau. Down it goes. Another icing. This is the kind of play that you see when a team is trying to defend and doesn't care where the ball goes in a clearance. You just got to get it out. Get it out, live to fight another day, get another face-off.
I got like 10 of them before I started this.
Another alley-oop pass out for the Owls. Trying to knock that out was Connors with the net empty. Again, that ball is iced once more. You're just trying to shoot towards that empty cage as Carter was pulled. 6-on-5. Can the Crooks take the numerical advantage and use it? Another alley-oop. This is gonna bounce. It would have gone in if not for Korey Wilson getting back and defending. He brings this in. Another shot on. That's stopped by Crawford. Still loose in the corner. This is sent all the way down and iced again. Sorry if I sound like a broken record here and repeating myself, but there's been a lot of these as the Owls just keep on shooting and shooting for the empty net. It's an early goalie pull, an aggressive goalie pull, but for the Crooks with all their talent, why wouldn't you? They're winning faceoffs, they're establishing possession, but they're struggling to get it all the way through and to put Crawford under that big-time pressure. Wilson trying to bring it back. Just at the line. Dutney through, it was blocked. That was Melanson. Did the job. It's along this wall. It's Fredrickson. Good passing, loose in the corner, but everybody getting down to try to block those lanes. There's another shot that comes in from Fredrickson. It goes wide. Another look up high. Time starting to run short. Fredrickson again deflects wide. Loose along the wall. Owls try to play it in and have iced it for like the 4th or 5th time in this sequence. They're trying. They're pushing. But right now, neither team can hit the net, whether there's a goalie in it or not. And at the moment, that favors the Owls. First round exits in the national tournament after second place finishes in the last 3 Tier 1 seasons. Dutney trying to pull it back. Another blast from Wilson is held by Crawford. They're trying to put all their firepower at Tyler Crawford, but the most valuable goalie from Tier 1 Massachusetts last year has stood tall. Another face-off. Another shot that didn't get through. It's Wilson. At this point, just hammer it away. No reason not to. Tried to send it along the wall of his block. Another chance for the Owls to get it towards the empty cage, but they've iced it a 5th or 6th time. I've lost count. But you can't blame them for it. Face off to Crawford's left. Is there one more good look? Wilson trying to pull it back. This is cleared again, just wide of the cage. And so we'll do it again. But time is almost certainly about to run out. There can't be more than just a few seconds left. The Crooks are giving it everything, but those Owls, those 2 goals in the first period and the late goal from Melanson in the second, right now is holding up as the winner. Still loose off the draw. And there goes the horn. The Oakridge Owls win a 3-2 great game against the Crooks. We'll have this final recap of this game in just a second.
Whether you're ripping clappers from the blue line or dangling through defenders, Napper has the sticks, gloves, and protective gear to take your game to the next level. Designed for ball hockey players by ball hockey players, Napper delivers unmatched durability, performance, and style on the court. Don't settle for less. Gear up with Napper and own the game. Visit napper.com to check out their latest lineups. Now, back to the show.
Owls win this game 3-2. And if not for Tyler Crawford, last year's most valuable goalie in Massachusetts Tier 1, they probably would not have. Matthew Aaron, thank you for being with us. The game of the week and the player of the game we just mentioned is Tyler Crawford. He was excellent in this game. Here's just a compilation of some of the saves he made. Second period, he was really tested in a major way, but he kept it out. And no matter what the Crooks threw at them with all those MVPs, all those incredible players, 4 of them in Massachusetts Tier 1, the last 4, Brandon Garneau, they just couldn't solve him. And Brandon Melancon, too. Credit to him, who was Tier 2 MVP last year in Massachusetts. He games in with 2 goals in the game winner, that long shot that beat Andrew Carter. Just a great game from him, except maybe that goal that he gave up. That's a tough situation to be in when you're going up against someone like Tyler Crawford, who had himself just a slightly better game, and that is the difference. The Owls are now 1-1, the Crooks 0-1, but they're going to have a lot more to say in this long NBHL season. Thank you for being with us at the Game of the Week. Stay tuned next week for more. Matthew Aaron, have a great rest of your day.